The 1970s weren't just about disco and drama. It was a decade where television redefined science fiction. Despite limited budgets, these shows built imaginative universes through bold storytelling and daring ideas, many of which continue to inspire modern sci-fi today. From space wars and time travel to bionic humans and dystopian futures, this list isn't just nostalgia, it's the very foundation of science fiction. Number 1. Battlestar Galactica, 1978-79. Created by Glenn A. Larson and starring Lorne Greene as the stoic Commander Adama, Battlestar Galactica arrived in 1978 like a thunderbolt, a $1 million per episode spectacle that stunned audiences with its dogfights, chrome-plated Cylons, and genuine sense of loss. It was a show about refugees, about faith, about whether civilization could survive its own worst impulses. The series may have borrowed freely from Star Wars, George Lucas noticed, but it had a mythology all its own: the sacred scrolls, the legend of Earth, the moral weight of Adama's impossible command. Starbuck and Apollo bickered and flew, Baltar schemed, the Cylons intoned their cold mantra, "By your command." Only 24 episodes aired before ABC canceled it, citing cost, but the show's spiritual weight proved irresistible, inspiring a revival film, a sequel series, and ultimately one of the greatest reboots in television history. Number 2. Space 1999, 1975-77. Jerry and Sylvia Anderson, architects of the Thunderbirds universe, brought their model-making genius to live action with Space 1999, and the result was visually spectacular. The Eagles, those backseat workhorses of deep spaceflight, remain among the most convincing spacecraft ever put on screen. The base itself, a gleaming city of corridors and control rooms, felt genuinely inhabited. Commander John Koenig of Martin Landau and Dr. Helena Russell of Barbara Bain led a crew confronting philosophical strangeness every week: energy beings, temporal paradoxes, colonies of the dead. The show's mood was elegiac, almost mournful. These were people cut off from everything they had known, finding meaning in survival. Season 2 introduced producer Fred Freiberger, a new alien character, and a jauntier tone that divided fans. But Season 1, brooding, cosmic, and suffused with Barry Gray's eerie score, remains a high watermark of 1970s science fiction. Number 3. Doctor Who, The Pertwee and Baker Years, 1970-1979. The 1970s were, by any measure, Doctor Who's golden decade. John Pertwee's third Doctor brought a new dynamism, velvet coats, Venusian Aikido, and a fondness for vintage cars. Stranded on Earth with Unit's Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart, he was a man of action as much of intellect, and the show crackled with Cold War paranoia, ecological menace, and the first appearance of the Master, Roger Delgado's urbane, irreplaceable adversary. Then came Tom Baker. From his arrival in Robot 1974 to his regeneration in Logopolis 1981, the Fourth Doctor dominated the era so completely that for many viewers he simply is the Doctor. The scarf, the jelly babies, the impossible grin, the sudden dark intensity. Stories like Genesis of the Daleks, The Robots of Death, and The Talons of Wen Chiang pushed the program toward adult drama while maintaining its essential wonder. Producer Philip Hinchcliffe and script editor Robert Holmes created a horror-inflected universe that the BBC itself eventually demanded they soften. The legacy of their run, gothic, literary, unafraid, defines the series to this day. Number 4. The $6 Million Man, 1973-78. Based on Martin Caidin's novel Cyborg, The $6 Million Man turned Lee Majors into one of the decade's defining television heroes. The show's genius was its simplicity, a good man, given extraordinary gifts, using them in the service of his country while remaining recognizably human. The slow-motion bionic action sequences, accompanied by that unforgettable electronic pulse, became instant cultural shorthand. Steve Austin was a Cold War fantasy, American ingenuity literally embodied, a man who could run at 60 miles per hour, lift a car, and see across a valley, yet still struggled with loneliness and the weight of what he had become. His relationship with Oscar Goldman and Dr. Rudy Wells gave the show unexpected emotional texture. The series ran for 5 seasons, spawned 3 TV movies, and launched a spin-off. It also introduced Sasquatch repeatedly, proving that even bionic super soldiers needed a worthy physical opponent. Number 5. The Bionic Woman, 1976 to 78. Lindsay Wagner won an Emmy for her portrayal of Jamie Sommers, and no wonder. Where Steve Austin was stoic and duty-bound, Jamie was warm, vulnerable, and conflicted about the life she had been given. She worked as a school teacher in Ojai by day and an intelligence operative when called upon, a double identity that gave the show a richer domestic dimension than its parent series. Created as a backdoor pilot within the $6 Million Man, The Bionic Woman found its own voice quickly. The writing took Jamie's inner life seriously, her grief, her joy, her friendships. Her bionic ear, capable of hearing whispers from 100 yards, was an inspired addition, giving her a sense that was distinctly different from Austin's visual and physical enhancements. The series also gave us Maximilian, the bionic German shepherd, proving that the future of covert operations was canine. Number 6. UFO, 1970 to 71. Jerry Anderson's first live-action series remains one of the strangest and most ambitious things British television has ever produced. UFO is a show about paranoia, sacrifice, and institutional loneliness, dressed in purple wigs, silver uniforms, and a soundtrack of surging Hammond organ. Ed Bishop played Straker with a controlled intensity that still feels modern, a man who has given everything to a secret war and received nothing in return. His marriages have failed, his son is dead, the aliens are still coming, and the world will never know what he did to protect it. The production design was extraordinary. The underwater moon base, the Skydiver submarine launch aircraft, the interceptors firing single nuclear missiles at alien craft. Each element felt thought through, functional, real. The aliens themselves, revealed slowly, ambiguously, sometimes pitiably, were genuinely unsettling. Only 26 episodes were made, but they contained more ideas than most shows manage in a decade. Number 8. Incredible Hulk, 1977 to 1982. Bill Bixby brought a quality to David Banner that no actor since has quite replicated, a profound, quiet sadness. He was a man haunted not by his past, but by his biology, by the thing inside him that could not be reasoned with or controlled, only endured. The show understood that the most frightening aspect of the Hulk was not what he did to enemies, but what he represented for Banner. Lou Ferrigino's physical performance as the Hulk was extraordinary, enormous, yes, but also somehow childlike, wounded, bewildered. The show's producers made a deliberate choice to limit Hulk's appearances, which meant each transformation carried genuine dramatic weight. The series borrowed its structure from The Fugitive and The Incredible Journey, Banner drifting through America, helping strangers, unable to stay anywhere too long. Each town was a new moral problem. Each problem was temporary. The sadness was permanent. Number 9. Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, 1979 to 1981. Created to capitalize on the Star Wars craze and produced by Glenn Larson, who also made Battlestar Galactica, the man clearly had a type, Buck Rogers was unapologetically fun. Gil Gerard's Buck was a whisk-cracking, woman-kissing, thoroughly unreconstructed 20th century American deposited into a future that found him baffling and irresistible in equal measure. Aaron Gray's Colonel Wilma Deering was the show's quiet revelation, competent, authoritative, and consistently more capable than her nominal hero. Their chemistry between them, Buck perpetually bewildered, Wilma perpetually exasperated, gave the show genuine warmth beneath its disco-era shimmer. Season 2 relocated the action to space exploration, introduced a new crew,
and largely abandoned what had worked. But Season 1, with its earthbound geopolitics, its beautiful draconian princess, and its earnest retrofuturism, remains endearing. 9. Planet of the Apes, 1974. CBS's live-action adaptation of the 1968 film ran for just 14 episodes before cancellation, but it was a richer, more thoughtful series than its short run suggests. Roddy McDowall, who had played Cornelius in 3 of the original films, returned as Galen, bringing an actor's full commitment to the role, even through hours of prosthetic makeup. The show's episodic structure allowed it to explore the ape society's politics and prejudices in ways the films could not. The power of the guerrilla military, the intellectual complacence of the orangutan establishment, the dangerous idealism of young chimpanzees who dared to question orthodoxy. Burke and Verdon were not action heroes in the conventional sense. They were frightened men trying to survive in a world that regarded them as animals, while carrying the knowledge of everything humanity had lost and everything it might yet recover. 10. Blake 7, 1978–81. Terry Nation, who gave the world the Daleks, created Blake 7 as a conscious antidote to Star Trek, a space opera about flawed, frightened people making terrible decisions for mixed motives. The Federation was recognizably fascist. The rebels were recognizably human, cowardly, selfish, brave, desperate, in love with each other and furious about it. Paul Darrow's Avon became the show's beating heart, a man who loved no one, trusted no one, and kept fighting because there was nothing else to do. His scenes with Jacqueline Pierce's Supreme Commander Servalan, gorgeous, ruthless, bored with survival, were among the finest acting British genre television has produced. The show killed its heroes, regularly, casually, irreversibly. When Blake himself disappeared at the end of Series 2, the show continued without him, darker, cheaper, stranger, more desperate. The series finale remains one of the most shocking in British television history. 11. Star Trek the Animated Series, 1973–74. When NBC canceled Star Trek in 1969, it stayed canceled for 4 years. The animated revival of 1973 was, in many ways, the better-funded, better-plotted continuation that the live-action series never quite got. D.C. Fontana, David Gerrold, and Larry Niven brought scripts of real ambition. The original cast returned to voice their characters, and animation allowed alien worlds of genuine strangeness, the Aqua Shuttle, the holodeck's predecessor, creatures that could not have been rendered in rubber. Episodes like Yesteryear, in which Spock returns to his own childhood on Vulcan, rank among the finest in the entire franchise. The series won a Daytime Emmy, the first Star Trek production to win any major award. It was eventually declared non-canonical, then partially canonical, then referenced in Discovery and Strange New Worlds. Its status, like much of Trek, remains productively contested. 11. Sapphire and Steel, 1979–1982.
P.J. Hammond created something genuinely unlike anything else on British television, a science fantasy series that refused to explain itself. Sapphire, Joanna Lumley, and Steel, David McCallum, were operatives of some unspecified agency, possessed of strange powers. She could take the temperature of time. He could lower his body temperature to near zero. They could communicate telepathically. Deployed against threats that existed in the cracks of temporal reality. The production had almost no budget, which forced it to find its horror in the claustrophobic and the psychological. Most of its 6 serials took place in single locations: a house where old nursery rhymes had become lethal portals, a railway station stranded outside of time, a 1930s roadhouse haunted by something that wore the faces of the dead. The final serial ended without resolution, without explanation, without hope. Sapphire and Steel were trapped in a small cafe, floating in infinite darkness, and they were not coming back. It remains one of the most devastating endings in British television.